guys, it's me Dominique coming at you guys with a new video. So today is Sunday, and this review is going to be the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 6 episode, I want to say 14, I don't know, it'll be in the title. So begins with the fight, obviously. This fight, oh my god, this fight rehashed something, because it's like, you know, when you look at this fight, when you've seen it the first time and then you watch it on DVR again, and then the time after that, you analyze different things. You're trying to piece together what set this person off and what set that person off. Then when you see it again right before the rest of it, you're like, oh, okay, that's what happened. But I was too through when I just kept seeing Apollo go for Brandon. I was like, Apollo, really? You still trying to go for Brandon? Seriously? Like, what's really the deal with that? And then Phaedra is trying to calm Apollo down, and she's like, just go, Apollo, because she knows, like, he is like dominating the whole situation. All eyes on him, and then everybody's already looking at him like he's the ex-felon, so they're already stereotyping him, although he's quite fitting the stereotype right now because he's letting himself get escalated with the whole situation. So the next scene is Christopher trying to explain the whole thing about how he felt and what he was still going to say before Kenya rushed his wife. And when he said that, Candy was like, well, let's talk about what y'all was saying about Todd. Because y'all want to talk about, you know, people talking about not knowing somebody's mate and da-da-da-da, acting like they know the mate better than them. Let's talk about what Natalie said about Todd. Again, Natalie tries to downplay instead of saying, well, you know what? Like I said when I reviewed that part, Natalie should just be like, well, when you know what? When I knew the Todd that was dating my friend, this is the Todd that I knew. Todd may be a different person now with you, but I was just speaking off the Todd that I knew. And that's how she should have just left it. That's another thing that just got escalated for no reason. And then Natalie, and I'm like, Candy, I thought you didn't care. Like that whole, oh, Todd, this the buck stop here. Like, we thought you ain't care. I said, Candy, you know, we really was, everybody was agreeing with you. It was like, oh, look at Candy. Candy don't care. Candy done nipped it in the bud and she dealt with it. No, you still cared because you brought it up when everybody was in the room. You should have got over that, Candy. Like, seriously, you should have. Natalie said exactly what she wanted to say. She been saying it, but she keep trying to clean it up. So, did anybody catch Lexi in the background sipping? Even after everything escalated, Lexi still had that drink in her hand. She was like, just looking around. It's like, she didn't need any friend, and you can really see that. She's just as much of a lush. Right? With Candy. Candy, I felt like Candy opened up that scene to pop off. Like, to me, it did look like Candy opened it up to pop off. And when Peter came up, Peter did come up like he was going to do something to somebody. He was coming up like he was stepping up in Candy's face. So, naturally, because, just like with Brandon and Kenya, because Peter stepped up in Brandon's face, Peter stepped up in Candy's face because he's already feeling some type of way about Candy because Candy let his little business out there. So when he stepped up in Candy's face, Todd stepped up in his face, and Todd was like, what you doing? And then he's like, oh, you know the rules. Like what rules? Like, what you talking about, nigga? Like, what you on? So that's another scene that really escalated really quickly. So then that scene keeps going, and we all clearly saw Mel run up on Candy. Mal, whatever her name is. She ran up on Candy. But if you watch Mel, whatever her name is, if you watch her that whole scene, you can kind of see how she creeps up around and she's like waiting. She pushes Todd first. Then she pushes Candy. Like, you could tell she's about to fight for Peter and Cynthia. Like, she's not about to let it go down where her sister or her brother-in-law about to get their ass whooped. She ready, and then she's sneaking off like she's like, But she did push Candy, and that's where it escalated at. Mal is the one who made it escalate for Candy because Mal put her hands on Candy and Todd, but Todd didn't even bring that up. But when you see a replay, Mal did it. Instead of pushing back Peter, her brother-in-law, who clearly she has issues with anyway, she pushed back Todd. Like, she was ready for them to jump up so she can jump up. As you notice, as the scene goes on, Peter and Todd de-escalate rather quickly. I don't know, is that a TV thing or is that a man thing? Because I've seen men go from 100 to back down to like 30. So it's like they de-escalated. It was like, this is what it is. And Candy was like, man, fuck this shit. I'm good. I want to go. I'm already on 10. I'm not coming down no time soon. So let's just go and let's just be out because I'm not with this. Which you can't blame Candy for. But that just de-escalated really quick. And then it's like after that whole other scene happened, then it's like, oh, we're too intelligent for this. We're better than this. What happened like all the other minutes ago? Because I don't know how many minutes. You know it was edited, so you don't know how many minutes before it even got to that point where it went. So the next scene goes into Candy and Carmen. Yeah, Candy and Carmen talking about what happened. Carmen wasn't there. Maybe Carmen should have been there, but Carmen probably would have been fighting too. But yeah, she's telling her about what happened, and then Carmen's like, oh, for real? And she then here's Tom side, just like a typical man. Like, oh yeah, it was titties popping out. Like, of course, a man. When the man knows two women is about to fight, that's what all they want to see is the women rip each other's clothes off so they can see naked women fighting. So, as everyone clearly speak, it's unanimous that everybody feel like Kenya is the one who started it. And I feel like, okay, we all know it started after Nene's question. But the whole getting up in each other's faces and being physical thing kind of started with Kenya because Chris was addressing Kenya. But Kenya was, I guess she was getting upset at what Natalie was saying. So she was going on calling herself charging Natalie, who was sitting down. So you was about to get up in Natalie's face. Get all up in Natalie's face while she's sitting down. Like, it was going to be a fight scene anyway because Kenya was going over there to get up in Natalie's face. And I don't think Natalie was just going to let Kenya get up in her face. And of course, naturally, like a man, although he's not trying to beat up a woman, but we've heard Chris's past that he was an abuser, but I don't think he was going to sit there and beat up on Kenya in front of all his people. But clearly, she's charging towards his wife. He's like, hold up, back up. Like, you're not going to hit her. I'm here. You're not going to hit my wife, which makes sense. And then Brandon and then everything, we all know how it played out. To see how it's edited to go back and forth between when Peter and Cynthia and them are telling the story and then when Candy is telling the story. But like, I feel like what Candy's version is less exaggerated than Cynthia's version, and it's kind of more of the truth to me because it's not as exaggerated. And then Candy takes her part. She's like, yeah, I went from 1 to 10. I'm partly to blame for the way that situation went because I just went from here to here. Obviously, I went from here to here because Mal pushed me. She ran up on me, and then I was like done with that. After that, I was done, which makes sense. Candy, you're definitely viewed by Cynthia and Nene and everybody else as a husband. Okay, the next thing is Kenya and Brandon. Okay, at first, I'm not gonna even lie. When I was watching this scene, I watched this scene rolling my eyes because I was like, yeah, it was a fight. Brandon, you're a man. You guys have a fight. Okay, now it's the queen coming out of you. Like, seriously, you jumped up to defend Kenya, so you had to know you were going to be in the fight. But then as I kept watching the scene, like, I started to notice and I gained a whole new respect for Brandon because I felt like he knew he could have took it as far as he wanted to take it because Apollo assaulted him and he knew he could have took it to court. Apollo could have went back to jail because to my knowledge, Apollo was a felon that was on probation, and he could have sued them and got money as well. But he was like, you know what, I'm not going to do this because this can go further than I wanted to go, especially for the children are involved. It's not just Phaedra and Apollo, it's the children. And I respected him a whole lot because in a situation like that, you're not only affecting the adults, you're going to affect the children because their dad can go to jail, that can take money away from them. I mean, it could be a whole lot. So I felt like Phaedra or Brandon should have reached out to, I mean, not Phaedra, but Phaedra or Apollo. Well, Phaedra, not Apollo. Phaedra should have reached out and said, you know, especially with Phaedra being a lawyer, I felt like she should have. But then she probably didn't want to reach out to Brandon because she didn't want to be accused of tampering and stuff like that. I don't know the little legal terms that are used, but I felt like after the fact, at the reunion, like maybe she can, if she's there, because we know Apollo out on bail. Apollo might be out on bail, but we know, I feel like she should say something to Brandon, or one of them should say something to Brandon, because to know that he could have took it there and he didn't because he knew it was children involved, and then the fact that Karma took care of that anyway, because look what happened. Apollo is now facing charges for something completely not having to do with this situation, but he's getting dealt with. So the next scene is Apollo and Phaedra. Apollo has some nerve telling Phaedra, oh, you just aggravated today. Clearly they're having marital issues, which makes you think, how is this whole new issue thing going to go down with Apollo? And he basically apologizes for embarrassing Phaedra, because that's the only thing he's probably only really sorry about. He's not sorry about being Brandon's ass. He's not sorry about breaking stuff. He's not sorry about fighting. He's just sorry that he embarrassed Phaedra, because he knows the girls and everybody else in America already look at their relationship as she's taking care of him and he's the ex-con and she's the lawyer. So he knows him doing that in that situation clearly embarrassed Phaedra. So that's what he's apologizing for. The next scene after that is the casting call for Kandi. That casting call was a complete mess. That's all I'm going to say about that. I can't even pinpoint who was worse than the other, who was better. It was just like, maybe it was the way they was edited. It was just like, whoa, no. So that whole scene with the girls getting together, I didn't know it was Kandi that orchestrated everybody to go together, which I thought was pretty commendable of her, even though it probably had something to do with the producers, because that whole other scene probably would have generated more viewership and yada yada yada. But yeah, I thought that was big of Kandi to orchestrate or to put together that whole little get together thing. And of course, Phaedra is going in that situation ready to defend her man, because she knows those girls, especially Kenya, is going to come for her. And as she throws towards Brandon. It was funny though. It was funny. I'm not going to lie, it was funny. And then, did anybody notice? I think that was the doing of the producers, that that Kenya and Phaedra were sitting next to each other. It's like, I know one of them wants to reach out and touch on each other, and just because they already had this beef about the whole DVD, and then Apollo attacks Brandon, and Kenya wanted to screw with Apollo. So it's already like tension all up in that area, and then they end up sitting right next to each other. Conversation with Cynthia. Cynthia's like, oh well, basically she's trying to say it's all you, Kandi. But clearly, you know, you invaded her personal space because she said that, so you apologize for that. But she's telling you why she went off, because your sister came at her. She's like, oh, I don't think. But when you sit back and watch that, what we watched it, then you'll be like, damn, okay, I'm not taking Mel nowhere with these kids, because now her and Kandi already got a beef. But yeah, she did push Kandi. She pushed Kandi and she pushed Todd, Cynthia. Just putting that out there. And I agree with Kenya. I don't think Brandon did anything wrong by coming to the defense of Kenya when a man was up in Kenya's face. But I think Kenya did hold some part in escalating the situation. Of course, after Nene's question escalated the situation. Nene's question is what got everything started, and then Kenya just made things escalate, and then it just went haywire from there. But yeah, that's my review for today. Housewives of Atlanta, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, go ahead and hit me in below. My Twitter, Instagram, and everything will be in the info box along with my email. And if you want to contact me, you can always email me or hit up my YouTube inbox. And that's my review. Until next time.